Windsor Castle, with its sweeping views of the English countryside and grand halls echoing with centuries of royal history, stood in eerie silence that evening. Behind its towering stone walls, beneath the opulent golden chandeliers and ancient tapestries depicting tales of power and majesty, a storm was brewing. A storm that would shake the very foundations of the monarchy. This was no ordinary crisis in the long and storied history of the British royal family. It was a dramatic confrontation, one that would pit time-honored traditions against the changing tides of modernity, duty against personal desire, and ultimately test the patience of the king to its breaking point. It was a conflict Charles had neither anticipated nor prepared for, nor could his consort Camilla have foreseen its arrival as she sought to carve out her own place within the monarchy. In what would be one of the most shocking moments of his reign, King Charles III made a decision that sent shockwaves through the palace. He demanded that Queen Consort Camilla leave. What was supposed to be an evening filled with royal engagements and high-level discussions turned into one of the most pivotal and, for some, devastating moments in the modern history of the monarchy. This upheaval came at a time of great transition. Charles had ascended to the throne only months earlier, following the passing of his beloved mother, Queen Elizabeth II. While the crown symbolized continuity, it also signified profound change. As Prince of Wales, Charles had enjoyed a certain degree of personal freedom, engaging in his passions, championing causes close to his heart, and maintaining some privacy within the rigid structure of royal life. However, upon becoming king, his responsibilities became all-consuming. Every action, every word, every public appearance now carried the weight of centuries of monarchy, and the immense pressure bore down on him. Camilla, once a quiet presence in the background, was now expected to take on a more visible and complex role as queen consort. While many saw her as an unwavering partner, one who had stood by Charles through public scrutiny and media criticism, her role was evolving in ways that created noticeable tension. She began to assert herself in ways that had not been foreseen, embracing a greater level of independence and taking on engagements without prior approval from palace aides. Her increasing prominence was viewed by some as a refreshing shift, a necessary modernization of the monarchy to remain relevant in a rapidly changing world. However, to Charles, it represented a divergence from long-standing traditions that had upheld the stability of the crown for generations. The situation reached its breaking point one fateful evening when Charles discovered that Camilla had given an unsanctioned interview. It wasn't just the fact that she had spoken publicly, it was the content of her statements that enraged him. In the interview, Camilla had candidly discussed her perspective on the monarchy's future, her role in shaping it, and her vision for a more adaptable, less protocol-bound royal institution. For Charles, who had spent his life defending the sanctity and dignity of the monarchy, this was nothing short of betrayal. He had never sought the limelight, always preferring steadfast duty over personal expression. To see his queen consort openly advocating for change without regard for centuries-old customs shook him to his core. That night, within the private study of the royal quarters, the confrontation unfolded, an unprecedented clash within the monarchy. The grandeur of the room, adorned with intricate tapestries, telling the tale of the royal family's legacy, only heightened the intensity of the moment. Yet, for all its splendor, the space felt smaller, more suffocating than ever before. Palace staff, many of whom had served the royal household for decades, stood outside in hushed whispers, sensing the charged atmosphere emanating from within. Charles, typically measured and composed, was visibly angered. His voice, once calm and diplomatic, now carried the sharp edge of frustration. He stood rigid, his hands clenched at his sides, his gaze fixed on Camilla. The confrontation marked a turning point, one that would be remembered as a defining moment in the ongoing evolution of the British royal family.